You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. By going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com, you can make this possible. All right, folks, let's talk about this story out of Illinois. It's pretty interesting. So Aaron Schock, member of Congress, rising member from Illinois, Republican. He got busted because he was using his office he was actually using campaign funds to redecorate his office in the theme of Downton Abbey. Don't ask me. I have no idea. Okay, but today he was officially cleared of criminal charges alleging he used his campaign funds for private purposes. This comes 6 months after he struck a rare deal with prosecutors, completing what is known as a deferred prosecution. Now, federal prosecutors in Chicago dropped all charges against Schock after he completed a probationary period. I'm just so stunned by it. Y'all, a probationary period where he stayed out of trouble and paid back $68 grand to his congressional campaign funds that he used for personal expenses. He's also required to work out a plan to pay back taxes to the IRS. Okay, here's why this is strange. Remember Jesse Jackson Jr., Congressman, Illinois, black, Democrat, accused of using campaign funds for personal use? He went to prison. His wife, who's campaign manager, they said, well, she knew about it as well. She went to prison. So what's the difference here? Let's talk about it with our panel here. Of course, we have my far left, Michael Brown, former Finance Committee member of the DNC. Again, I'm just still trying to explain. He's vice chair, of course, DNC Finance Committee. Also, Monique Presley, legal analyst and crisis manager. And we have A. Scott Bolden, former chair, National Bar Association, Political Action Committee.
I want to go first.
No, you're not going
Please
first.
Let me go
first. Of all,
first.
you're not going first.
I haven't seen you in weeks. I want to go first.
No, you're not going first because I'm going to go first to somebody who...
Uh-oh, don't do it.
No, I'm going to Michael. Michael, no, I'm going to Michael. No, I'm going to Mike. I'm not dealing with you first. No, I'm going to Mike.
You knew it. He's just as good.
No, I decided right here. Now, Michael, you had to deal with these issues of U.S. attorneys.
Absolutely.
When you went to federal prison.
Same one as Jesse.
Okay, same one as former Congressman Jackson Jr. Is this weird that this guy, that if you look at these two cases, accused of the exact same crime, Schock was hit with 12 charges, Jackson hit with 16 charges, he gets probationary deal, and hey, no sweat, you just pay the money back, you ain't gotta go to jail, all charges dropped.
I thought you were going to let me recuse myself from this subject.
Nope, you can't.
You know,
you should.
In these cases, in particular, with members of Congress, something like that usually goes to the Ethics Committee to be remedied. In this case, obviously, it didn't. It went to the Justice Department, and it was referred to the Justice Department. We know what happened here. With this gentleman, you know, clearly he has a favorable Justice Department that chose to work with him. I'm doing the best I can.
No, but the reason this is strange, Monique, is that first of all, under Congressman Jackson, that took place during the Obama administration.
This is so loaded up here right now. Ooh, Jesus.
This is abominable.
You are doing to your panel right now. It's like we're having 3 conversations and none of them is what's coming out of our mouth.
I'm speaking for you. Okay?
Oh, God. Okay. No. The deal that he got is not strange. The deal that he got...
He meaning Schock.
Meaning Schock.
Okay.
Is not a problem for me. I get that what he got, others did not get. And sometimes, as Scott and I were talking about, the justice system does this in this case and that in that case.
On a high-profile matter like this,
one thing that matters is...
That's rare.
D.C. was the jurisdiction for the Jackson matter, and Schock was at home, maybe, the Jackson matter would have turned out differently if that were the case. And then there's also the obvious if it wasn't a black man in America.
I mean, okay, first of all, hold on.
I'm
Here's
going
the
to
deal.
Chicago
No, for all the
if I
folks
get in
again.
trouble.
So Schock gets this probationary period. All right. Jesse Jackson Jr. got 30 months. His wife got 12 months. Okay. They were accused. Okay. So Jackson, they said, spent $750,000. They say this guy spent $68,000. So what? Is it the amount of money? But it's campaign funds.
Okay,
That's a factor.
Hold on. Go ahead.
The amount is taken into consideration. Whether the person who's accused is cooperating or not is taken into consideration. Whether there are mitigating circumstances, which in the Jackson matter there were, but I don't know to what extent that prevailed, that's taken into consideration. If the government, and especially in D.C., it's like this, feels like there's games being played and the matter is being kind of not taken seriously, then
It's going to be up to
it
me.
can
Just
then
finish
it
up.
can go another way. But what the justice system is supposed to do is not use punishment to set an example. When you have first-time offenders, even if they are public servants, and as Mike said, some of these things end up being handled in committee, and we don't even know about how many people are charged with things that relate to this. It's not strange, for instance, to be able to negotiate paying back taxes. That's not odd.
Right.
It's not, there
In a
are
deferred
lots of things.
prosecution?
But Scott, here's what's...
In a deferred
Why are you
prosecution?
yelling?
Scott, wait. But here's also was interesting.
the point.
Here's also was interesting. First of all, the federal judge ruled today. Took a few minutes. Schock wasn't even required to even be there.
Exactly.
He at the crib.
Exactly. So here's the deal.
I mean,
For you listening audience.
like, damn.
So what he pled to wasn't a felony. It was a misdemeanor. And in several jurisdictions, especially on federal law, if you're going to plead to a misdemeanor, you have a proceed, you don't have to show up in court. In his deferred prosecution agreement, this is Schock, he admitted overbilling and selling tickets and paying base price. He admitted to not paying the
So what he did
IRS.
was mileage reimbursements.
Mileage reimbursement.
Use the money for interior decorating.
Right.
A charter plane flight to Chicago Bears games, and also the reselling of sports tickets for profit.
He admitted it. So they still gave him a deferred prosecution. Now, I granted jurisdictionally, and they moved it to Chicago because the judge in D.C. had a conflict or improper contact with the federal prosecutors here. But why do you move it all the way to his home jurisdiction? You could move it to Virginia, i.e. Manafort, or you could move it to Maryland.
Right.
But here's the thing about the Jackson case, though.
Schock admitted, this is from the Chicago Sun-Times.
Read it.
Y'all gonna love this.
It's right there.
Although he admitted to the above accusations, Schock did not plead guilty to any criminal offenses. This is what Schock said in March after the agreement was approved. Quote, there's a difference between mistakes and crimes.
Right. And his committee, the campaign committee, which is key here, they pled guilty to a misdemeanor or a felony. So whatever they were doing, he blamed somebody, and George Terwilliger, his very fine defense counsel, convinced them that the company, the campaign finance committee, would take a hit and he'd get this deferred prosecution. But what makes it worse, despite the competing jurisdictions and U.S. attorney's offices, is this. Jesse Jackson Jr. had mental health challenges during the period of the time he allegedly committed, well, he pled guilty, he committed these crimes, and that played no factor. Schock had all his faculties, and Jesse Jackson Jr. didn't have all his faculties and still got 30 months. And his wife, who is the first crime she ever committed, tax evasion or failure to pay taxes. First offense. They could do that civilly. They did that criminally. She got 12 months, which means she had to do 12 months. If they gave her 12 months in a day, she could do 80% of it. Now, granted, that was in D.C. The other one's in Chicago. Schock's in Chicago. If you ever get in trouble, ladies and gentlemen, go to Chicago.
No, if you ever get in trouble, be a white Republican.
And go to Chicago.
Go to Chicago.
With Jesse Smollett, though, at the state level, He walked too on one of these deferred prosecution bills.
But again, though, I mean, look, if you want to compare things, the bottom line is this goes to this whole issue people raise that if you were a black politician, you can look at the number of years that William Jefferson got. You look at the number of years that Kwame Kilpatrick got. There are just a number of cases folks bring up where you see where white politicians have committed crimes, have gotten relatively few years, but then all of a sudden the book, this kitchen sink and everything thrown at black politicians.
Absolutely.
Monique, you got something to say? We could look on your face. I'm just trying to understand.
Well, listen, it makes...
I said Monique.
My middle name is Monique.
I said Monique.
Okay.
Monique, Mike, y'all...
There's no way I can disagree with what you're saying.
Exactly.
Scott is incensed, but and rightfully so. My only point was.
Someone on YouTube did say, "Why is Scott's voice so high?" But go ahead.
We should.
I was joking about my middle name being named.
That's what I said.
Those deals, and that's why I said initially what he was offered really isn't the problem. The problem is that when one of ours is on the carpet for something. But listen, our own community doesn't back up our own when we get called on the carpet for something. We push on pedestals, and then there is a problem, and then we let people fall way, 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 way low, and we look at them like it's a spectator sport. And that's never going to make for the type of justice that a black man in America deserves, which is the same amount of discretion, the same amount of understanding, the same amount of no criminal record, first chance, deferred adjudication, mental illness, whatever the case may be.
But it starts with the discretion. You can't look down unless the prosecutor, federal or state, is giving discretion. And I guarantee you, Jesse Jackson Jr. or Michael Brown couldn't get that deal in D.C. or anywhere else. That's the injustice. If you're going to give deals, you're giving deals. But give him a deal. Give me a deal. Give Roland a deal. That's really what we're talking about. And prosecutorial discretion varies from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, even though the U.S. Attorney's Office is all on the DOJ. Broad discretion. That's what we got to fix. That's why voting matters. That's why prosecutors matter, because you put prosecutors in, and that's why the president matters.
Final comment?
Well, some have said that the previous administration's Justice Department targeted many more people elected people of color than the administration before that.
You mean the Obama administration?
Oh, did I say previous?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
I just want to make sure we're talking about the same one.
You couldn't get away with
Oh, yeah, he was too quick with it. Yes, that one. That is what some folks have said.
overcompensation.
Overcompensation. And to Monique's point, when she was saying, what the pedestal thing, watch them fall, that our folks don't do any lift up.
Well,
Y'all know
let
all
me
these
just
books.
say
That's
this.
all I'm saying. All right.
You need to do more about this, Roland.
Next topic. Jesus.
Oh, my comment on it.
I ain't never.
We all got
I'm
connections.
trying to understand
I
why
don't care.
3 black lawyers scared. I'm just trying to understand.
I'll
I'm
let it
like,
go.
the show's called Unfiltered. They like, normally they just running there, yak, yak, yak. And I was like, okay, next topic.
Especially this one.
All right.
Monique.
It's amazing how nobody want to talk about this subject. I wonder why.
I talk about it.
All right, y'all. Last week, there was a massive protest march in different parts of Johannesburg, South Africa, targeting foreign nationals. The crisis erupted as a result of the murder of a taxi operator alleged to have been killed by a Nigerian. Now, the president of South Africa has condemned the continuous killings of Nigerians in South Africa, warning it would no longer be condoned. So far, 118 Nigerians have been killed, 13 of them by South African police. I mean, that's crazy. That's just crazy.
Black on black crime.
Okay, is there you
missed that point?
You trying to add to that?
I was just trying to help. I was just trying to support the show. This your 1-year anniversary. I might.
No, you need to take a. Matter of fact,
I thought when you
remove
said,
all
are you trying
caffeine.
to add to that,
Remove
you meant
all-
like because I'm about to commit a black on black crime. So I
I'm
turned
just saying.
real quick. I was like,
I mean, y'all might have want to remove Scott's caffeine because I mean, like you weighed extra as hell. Do I need to call Erica?
Man, keep my wife's name out.
I
your mouth.
I'm just saying. Do I
told
need to
you
call
that
Erica?
before.
That's all I'm saying. Woo! All right, y'all. All right, folks, back to our Roland Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, this Friday, if you're in the Atlanta area, you do not want to miss the Ride Money in Motion conference at the Loudermilk Center. I'll be moderating a panel about access and ownership sponsored by Bangi, the only African-American owned publicly traded cannabis organization in the world. I'll be on that panel with Matthew Knowles, Bonita Money, Ryan Mack, and the whole Bangi family. They'll be front and center discussing entry into the multi-billion-dollar and growing cannabis industry and how you can become a distributor, shareholder, or cannabis landlord. If you're interested in making money in this booming industry, again, $340 billion worldwide, you don't want to miss this day-long symposium. My panel will begin at 2:30. But for a full list of other panels, activations, and tickets, please visit ride.rollingout.com. That's ride.rollingout.com. And so we're looking forward to that. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.